Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a new custom mail-in tournament. Welcome to day number 1. This is bound to be a good one. Let's welcome the first group of racers that sent in vehicles for this tournament. We have Chase Family from Chase Family Racing, J-Bo from Dog Squad Racing, Mr. Dark from Dubious Diecast, and Big Mike from NZ Racing. These are the 4 that'll kick this tournament off. Let's see how well each of them do. And here we go, the tournament has officially begun. Already, J-Bo is starting to fall behind. Mr. Dark is pushing NZ forward, trying to get the inside lane. So far, he turns out to be successful and is quickly closing the gap between him and NZ. They go around the next turn. Here comes Mr. Dark trying to close that gap, trying to find his way around NZ. And he is successful. And now he has the lead and he's quickly pulling away. NZ seeing this happen, he is trying to catch back up. Around that turn into the straightaway, Mr. Dark bounces off the walls a little bit, but he manages to get the win despite NZ closing in on him. And now 17:07 is the time to beat. And despite trailing for most of that race, J-Bo almost grabbed third. Yeah, Mr. Dark slid sideways for just a little bit, but quickly straightened himself out. So he will grab the first win, and is the one racer out of this group that can hopefully stay undefeated. And now into heat number 2, the racers will be rotated, I believe. And the race begins, and Mr. Dark right out the gate already has a decent sized lead in front of the pack. Chase Family's trying to push NZ forward now, and it doesn't seem to do much as Dark stays quite a ways ahead. Going around the turn, NZ is quickly falling behind. And Mr. Dark is leaving everybody in the dust as he heads towards the last turn before the straightaway. Loving the design on that vehicle, by the way. In fact, all of them. And in fact, Mr. Dark does get the second straight win. He does end up on his back after crossing the finish line, but he gets an even faster time now of 15.58. J-Bo unfortunately finishes in 4th yet again. That's going to make it a lot harder to move on from this point forward. He is making a valiant effort in that last stretch before the finish, but he's got to do that throughout the entire race. So now Mr. Dark just needs one more win to automatically move on to the grand finals. Let's see if he can pull it off. He starts off in the front yet again, and he takes full advantage of it as he takes off, leaving the other 3 to fight for second. And now J-Bo is actually in second right now. The question is, will he be able to maintain that position and possibly catch up to Dark, who so far has been doing really well? It actually looks like he's going a little bit slower this time around. Maybe the other 3 will be able to catch up as a result. Meanwhile, J-Bo is staying in front of NZ. This could be the break he needs in order to keep his hopes alive to progress in this tournament. Meanwhile, Mr. Dark does get the 3rd consecutive win, and he's already off to the finals in today's video. I think I might have said grand finals earlier. That's my apologies. But the top 2 will actually be moving on to today's finals. So even if you don't get the highest points, you still have a shot. But J-Bo did manage to finish in second that time. If he can do that again, he might be able to move on depending on how the other racers do. The chances are small, but they're not impossible. It would obviously be even better if he finished in first. Let's see if he can pull that off. Right now, he's actually being pushed forward by Dark, but he does have the outside lane. But that doesn't matter. J-Bo is now in the lead. This could be exactly what the doctor ordered, as it were. But just because he's in first doesn't mean he'll keep it, and here comes Dark overtaking him. Will J-Bo be able to make up the ground he just lost? It doesn't look like he will, because Dark is once again leaving everybody behind, so much so that everyone is off camera. And Mr. Dark stays undefeated in this particular group. I believe he will also move on to the finals today with the fastest time so far. I believe it was a 15.88 if I remember right. But I don't think Jabo will be moving on. No, he made a valiant effort, but unfortunately, he fell just short. But now for the second group, which has Uncle Elvis from Team Uncle Elvis, Lero from 409 Diecast Racing, Rico the Robot from Rico Robot Racing, and Big Mike from Hot Wheels Boys. Two of these people will move on to the finals to join the others that already made it. Let's see which ones will do so. Starting off, Uncle Elvis and Hot Wheels Boys are in the front of the pack. My apologies. But Uncle Elvis, despite having the outside lane, is the one to take the lead. Meanwhile, Lero, actually all three are staying relatively close behind him. This could change things up. Lero tried to find his way around. Uncle Elvis denied him. And Lero actually had his plan backfire, as now he is far behind the others. And Uncle Elvis has the lead, but here come Hot Wheels Boys and Rico. They're trying to catch him. Uncle Elvis actually spins sideways, and Hot Wheels Boys takes the first win. Lero had a great start, not so great a finish, but it looks like Rico had a slightly worse finish. Somehow ending up on his side, I can't tell. It looked like as he went around that last turn, he somehow had enough momentum shift on him to the point where he toppled over. That is definitely a dangerous result, but as long as he can keep racing, he will keep contending. I could probably have worded that better, but hey, moving on. Heat number 2, now Rico is looking to make up that ground, and so far he does have the lead out of the gate, and Lero is falling behind yet again. But he's fighting currently with Hot Wheels Boys and Uncle Elvis, who is pushing him forward, which he may be able to take advantage of. So far, is successful in doing so. Rico is trying to find any way to make up that ground for not finishing in the previous race. If he finishes in first, this could be exactly what he needs. Uncle Elvis is trying to catch him. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, though. And now Rico the Robot, I believe, will have a first-place finish. As long as he can keep that up, he will still have a shot to move on. But there won't be any undefeated racers out of this group. You look at that, almost catching up entirely after not finishing at all in the first race. And he starts off in the front lane yet again. But this time Lero is trying to give him a run for his money. Uncle Elvis is pushing Lero forward. So Rico will have some work to do, but he manages to squeeze in between them somehow. But now he's skidding sideways and he loses that speed, allowing Uncle Elvis to overtake him. And now Uncle Elvis is trying to do the same with Lero. So far, Lero is having none of that, and he's continuously blocking him from passing. They go into the last stretch. Lero is trying to hold on to that lead. He tries to do a nose block, but it doesn't work, as Uncle Elvis now has a first-place finish. Meanwhile, Rico finishes in third. Meanwhile, Hot Wheels Boys somehow loses all his speed and doesn't make it to the finish line. That was quite the battle for first place. Lero had it for the longest time, but his attempt at nose blocking did not work. If he did it slightly sooner, he might have been able to make it work, but unfortunately he waited just a split second too long, and Uncle Elvis pushed him out of the way, allowing him to get the win. Now the points have been tossed around quite a bit. Right now, Uncle Elvis has 11, Lero has 6, Rico has 7, and Hot Wheels Boys also has 7. Hot Wheels Boys and Rico have both finished in first, third, and didn't even finish once, respectively. So now it could be a matter of who will finish in front of the other. Right now, Rico is coming out of nowhere, taking up second. Will he be able to grab first? So far, there is a bit of a gap between the two, and Uncle Elvis does have the lead. But now he skids sideways, goes backwards. Here comes Rico. Will it be enough? No, it will not. But his wonderful second place finish may result in him still moving on despite that. It was definitely close. Rico definitely had a burst of speed. Oh, Rico did get the win. And he'll be moving on alongside Elvis, who will now take part in the finals, alongside Mr. Dark and NZ. Now here we go. Mr. Dark is trying to catch up quickly, like he usually does, and is now in second, right behind Uncle Elvis. And Uncle Elvis does have the lead, but here come Rico and Dark fighting for second place. Rico tried to hold on to it, but Mr. Dark was saying no way, that's not happening. And now he's quickly closing that gap between him and Elvis. As they go around the last turn, he is bumping the back of him. And Uncle Elvis executes a wonderful block. That is how you execute a great block, because not only, when you check out this replay, check this out. He not only blocked him in the front, but as he tried to navigate the other way, he blocked him with the back of his vehicle and kept first place as a result. So now Uncle Elvis is the one in first, but I also think this means no one out of today's races will be undefeated. I believe Dark still has the fastest overall time, but he will not move on to the grand finals if he does so with an undefeated streak. And now Rico the Robot is out in front, and this is a very close pack. And now Rico the Robot is actually causing a traffic jam with all the races as they go around that turn. This may have ended up working in his favor, because some of the other racers have lost some momentum, but Uncle Elvis is staying right on the back of him, pushing him forward, trying to find his way around, but ends up losing speed, and Rico the Robot takes first place. After we saw Uncle Elvis pulls off a wonderful nose and tail block, Rico the Robot does the same thing, causing everyone to pile up behind him, which ultimately worked in his favor. And now the points are overall spread out a little bit more evenly. But NZ definitely still has some work to do if he wants to keep his hopes alive of partaking in future parts of this tournament. Here comes Mr. Dark, already having the lead. Anytime he starts out in front, he shows how dangerous he can be. But Uncle Elvis already closes that gap, and now they're fighting for first. Mr. Dark is trying to keep going back and forth, trying to block him. So far, it proves to be successful and causes Uncle Elvis to lose some momentum. They go around the last turn. Here we go into the stretch. And Uncle Elvis almost was able to pass him, but ended up finishing in third. In fact, NZ gave him a bump draft of sorts, trying to go under him. A wonderful performance by Dark, but Uncle Elvis's attempts to pass him ended up causing him to lose a position instead of gain it. And now as we take a look at the overall points in this group, it is Uncle Elvis with 10. Mr. Dark also has 10. NZ only has 3, and Rico actually also has 10. Between Elvis, Dark, and Rico the Robot, they've all finished in first, second, and third. So it's just a matter of which two will finish in front of the others. And right now it looks to be in favor of Uncle Elvis and Dark. And remember, the top two will finish and move on. So whoever finishes in first, the person in second will still move on, and it will be Dark and Uncle Elvis. And I believe Dark finished with a new fast time of 15.47. So Mr. Dark may not have an undefeated streak, but he will be moving on alongside Uncle Elvis. Wonderful driving by all these racers, and some of the greatest tactics I've seen in a while. But congratulations to Elvis and Dark. They will be moving on. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in round 2.